What is going on, everybody? It is Sunday, August 4th. Joined on your screen by Eric Arditi. The Baltimore Orioles end up coming back, taking the last two games of a four-game series to move to 67 and 46. They are in a tie with the New York Yankees atop the AL East. Eric, how did you feel about the way this team recovered after a goof pickle game on, what was that, Thursday or Friday, and just a poor opening to this series?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it all year, the resiliency, their ability to bounce back. And, it is nice when you can, look at the schedule and say, okay, well, they lost the Rogers first start. Probably had that one penciled for a loss anyways. And then Kramer, it's kind of up in the air with him. But when you can look and say, all right, well, we got Eflin and Burnes going back to back, you probably feel pretty good about it doesn't really matter who you're going to up against. But if you got Eflin and Burnes out there, I think you're thinking that, okay, well, we should probably win these. And they were able to take both of them. Offense obviously played much better the last 2 days than they did early on. And again, Cleveland, they're a good, scrappy team. And again, they kind of, what is it? They inflicted their will. What is that? They just
imposed their will.
Imposed their will. They just had their way with them Thursday and Friday. And then again, for them to bounce back like they did last night, we were talking about it off air, but Adley needed just a sign, a glimpse of something. And boy, did they give it to him last night with Verdugo 2.0. I mean, thank God. What's his name? Jahansky Noel or whatever, stepping in and that ball flying. I don't think he makes that catch anyways, but that kind of seemed to open the floodgates. And then today was just more of the same. It's the young guys hitting. Cowser, I think it's at 17 hit games in a row with a hit. Longest rookie streak since Trey. Again, Jackson this is the prince who was promised. Like, he looks absolutely awesome, like a completely different player than he did the first, 2 weeks that he was up. And again, Adley's doing it now. Gunnar is that home run he hit when the ball doesn't even make it out of the screen and it goes out, like, all right, he's pissing on it. And somebody said it, but it kind of all circles back to that double he had last night where he stretched it on Noel, and he came up and fiery and pounded his chest and screaming, "Let's go" at the dugout. And ever since then, they've the offense has kind of been on fire. So it was a nice way to end the series. Again, and if you would have told anyone, hey, you're going to go face the Guardians, who have the best record in baseball, and you're going to split with them, I think anyone you'll say, yeah, we'll take that 100%. It's that they're a good team. Thank God that the Orioles are done with them now, and they're up on the Toronto, a team who they beat up on last week. And again, it would be nice to take 2 out of 3 there. Or a sweep, maybe. I wouldn't hate a sweep mixed in some of these places because the Yankees have the easiest schedule the rest of the way. And shocker, they have a day off tomorrow. The Yankees do, while the Orioles, again, seem to just never have days off. So it's a good series. It was a good way to finish the series, not to start the series.
Definitely. And really, the Orioles do have a day off tomorrow. By the
way.
They?
I thought
they're off. Yeah, they're off.
Why do I think I thought they had 4. Am I wrong?
They play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in Toronto.
Oh,
and then
hell
they play Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Tampa before returning home to play the Nationals for 2 games. And then a few home games there against the Nationals and the Red Sox. They go to New York to play the Mets, come home to play the Astros for a 4-game series, and head to LA to close out August against the Dodgers.
Nice.
So
yeah, I looked at that wrong then. I thought I thought they were playing tomorrow, and that's when I was like, this is ridiculous. Every day the Yankees have off and the Orioles are playing another game, but I stand corrected. So
yeah, it'll be nice for the Orioles to have a day off, especially after so many acquisitions. The acquisitions really, and I'll include Jackson Holliday in the acquisitions of the deadline. Eloy Jimenez has a masterful performance in this one. Ends up having back-to-back multi-hit games. It's a 3-hit game today. Then we see Eflin go out and shove. We see Austin Slater with a leadoff double yesterday.
Go figure. Go figure. Everyone and their mother shit on that lineup.
I want to give Hyde credit. Hyde pushed all the right buttons. We saw Adley get a pinch hit triple. We saw Ryan O'Hearn get an RBI double in a pinch hit situation. Ryan Mountcastle gets an RBI single today. I think he really did push all the right buttons here. So Hyde has been tweaking the lineup, moving Cowser up, moving Cowser around, really making do and in orienting new guys in. And Eloy Jimenez, I thought epitomized how fun it can be to play with the Orioles. And I guess to poo-poo on Jack Flaherty a little bit one last time, someone that discerningly didn't have fun playing in Baltimore and didn't really seem like he wanted to have fun. Baltimore's a really fun place to play if you want to have fun. If you want to be a lighthearted, competitive person that likes to win and smile and dump the octobong, dong bong on each other and do all that stuff that Colton Cowser and Gunnar Henderson were doing, this is the place for you. Eloy Jimenez with a quote, paraphrasing somewhere along the lines of that he feels like he's been in Baltimore for a year and that's a testament to the clubhouse here. So see him come through. Brandon Hyde, knowing him since he was 16 years old. Jimenez, of course, the number 1 overall international prospect in 2013. I think he was a number 3 prospect in all of baseball when he reached an extension with the White Sox prior to ever being called up. And then looks the part here. Kind of reminds me of Miguel Sano a little bit and just kind of his stature a little bit, maybe like the keto Miguel Sano a little bit thinner than that. But certainly can't run, certainly can hit. Awesome. Watching him go the other way. We saw him and O'Hearn both today rip hard hit balls down the line the other way, going with the pitch. The Orioles' approach is something that I thought was interesting in the series. At the plate, they walked way more in July than they'd have in any other month by far. I don't have the numbers right in front of me. And it felt like they were still patient in this series. And I think we're starting to see the yin and the yang of being able to pick and choose when to be patient and when to be aggressive, starting to feel a little bit more natural. And that could be a progression that someone like a Hyde or an Elias or just the Orioles coaching staff and their hitting coaches could all be working on. Adley, for as bad as he was in July, took more walks than he had strikeouts. Put a lot of balls in play. Only had 10 strikeouts in July. So Adley breaking through here. Gunnar, as we're just talking exit velocity, always I think that's my favorite stat in general. Exit velo in the 7-4 win yesterday. Gunnar had a 110 and a 105. And then today we see Gunnar have a 107 and a 104.7. So smoking the baseball. Him and Jackson Holliday putting on a hard hit showcase throughout this series. Jackson Holliday, I think, has 90% of his balls put in play have been hard hit, meaning 95 miles per hour or greater. Ripped a couple in this one. The timing looks really good. The bat plane looks really good on Jackson Holliday. He looks like he's having fun. Had a silly little error today early in this one. Where weird. He just didn't really open his glove up much. He kind of went with his glove.
He catches it down here. He did it twice. It's like, dude.
He reminds me. I mean, he's 20. He kind of looks like he's a swagged out travel baseball kid. The way he plays in defensively a little bit. He's kind of
he literally is.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure he'll. That's the classic. Oh, you're playing everything really well. Well, guess what, buddy? You did something silly. So the coaching staff still has something to get on you about. Speaking of Jackson Holliday, I mean, Orioles got a couple calls, I will say, later in this one. And I hate going too crazy about the strike zone because it is not perfect. The little box we see on TV is not perfect. And there is the plane of the baseball crossing the plate. And, it's very good. I used to work for Sports Info Solutions. They're the ones who do it. But it is not perfect. I know that from working there. We go a little too crazy. With that in mind, my God, Jackson Holliday has been robbed consistently. Just all around bad calls. Ryan O'Hearn with the bases loaded on a curveball that was from a righty and never was over any part of the plate. Really inconsistent. And then I would say the Guardians took a couple later too. There's no consistency across 2-3 inning stretches. Sometimes it was a tight zone. Sometimes it was a little bit wider, especially off the plate. Was really, really, really weird. A couple weird calls in this one. Jackson Holliday does get picked off. And then also there was a bang steal throw out that was really, really, really close at second. Holliday applying the tag from Rushman. That was super close. So a lot of weird stuff happened in this series too. And again, that game on Friday night was just a disaster defensively. So a little bit of everything in this series, a little bit of bad Orioles baseball, a lot of good Orioles baseball to close out here. New guys contributing. Eflin looked awesome yesterday. Again, both starts, he's just looked like a pro. No disrespect to little Cade Povich, but Jake made a good point. It was watching Eflin to Povich back-to-back starts on that doubleheader against the Blue Jays. Watching Eflin, he looks right. It looks sharp. The ball looks like it's explosive. It has movement that's decisive and sharp. So Eflin's been awesome and looks like a really strong signing so far. Trade so far.
Yeah, I mean, again, he seems like he just throws BBs. And again, if that's a guy who is like, I'm going to throw strikes and it's going to be in the zone. And if you hit it, you hit it. And if you don't, then good. And that's just what he does, So again, he doesn't nitpick and nibble around the zone. He's just firing them in there. So I think he had one walk, which, and then of course it led to the home run. But again, I mean, he's probably performed the best out of all the guys who have been traded at the deadline. Again, I haven't looked at any of the other numbers really.
Jazz Chisholm started really hot for the Yankees and
Yeah.
like things like that league wide, but around the Orioles clubhouse, I mean, him, Jimenez, yeah, both have been sharp.
He's been exactly what the Orioles needed. And again, you see Trevor Rogers kind of falter in his first start. Dean Kramer, again, did not look good on Friday, but then again, it's nice that you can turn around, like I said, on Saturday, not even your ace, not even your number 2 guy, go, I'm feeling pretty good about an Eflin start. And Eflin start, obviously he's only made 2, but we may, I think eventually we'll get to that, when Grayson's on the mound and you're like, all right, we're good tonight. We're good. We got it. I think Eflin will kind of have that same impact. But yeah, he's been awesome. I think he also, it seems like, and again, it's only been 2 starts, but he is just cool, calm.
He's a veteran. He's a veteran pro. He's a professional pitcher.
And again, I assume that will help the entire ball club. You got your first baseman and second baseman are throwing the ball God knows where, and they're dropping this and booting that and doing all this stuff. It's got to be so nice to have, again, a guy like a Corbin Burnes on the mound who just stays one level the entire way. Kramer can kind of get a little, his theatrics a little bit. He lets it show sometimes. But again, Eflin just kind of goes out there and like Corbin, it's kind of like, this is my job. So I'm going to go out here. I'm going to get you out. I'm going to go sit in the dugout. I'm going to come back and I'm going to do it again. And again, I think we have to shout out the bullpen too. I mean, Yennier Cano last night, my God, Saturday night, what did he throw? 5 pitches and he got the save, I think. And including the great play. And I forget who tweeted it. It may have been Freddie. The former Orioles Masson with the Z account, but he said this play that Cano made with Mountcastle, a great play by Mountcastle too. But he said this is the exact type of play that they practice on February 15th or whatever, in spring training. This is exactly why you do it. And he did it, and he played it awesome. And that was a great way to start out that 9th inning, and it really just sucked the air right out of Cleveland. Again, I mean, it was just overall a very, very good series from a lot of the new guys. And again, Eflin and Eloy. Eloy has been fun to watch because, again, you had the White Sox, the literally the White Sox media team, their channel or whatever, sent out that oh, thank God, we should send the Orioles a thank you card. Masson would never do something like that. John Michael Kay was shitting on Joey Gallo after he left. I could never imagine any of the Orioles affiliates or anything like that, openly putting out content about fuck that guy. Thank God he's gone. No matter what happened, it was very weird. So again, we'll take your scraps if you want it. And we'll go from there. But yeah, it was a very good weekend for the new guys, the young guys, everybody but big Kobe Mayo, who is struggling a little bit, but we cannot, we've seen every young prospect come up and struggle, and then we see what happens when they rebound. So if anyone is worried about Kobe after 3 games, I don't know what to tell you. And you're probably engagement baiting and working for a local radio station who's number 1 in all the ratings. So I don't know what to tell you. Can't be too upset at anything right now.
Yeah, Eloy Jimenez, fantastic. And again, I think it was just lacked class. It wasn't very classy. And there's just no need to take digs at a guy who clearly has put in the effort, done the time, fought through injuries, things like that. So, yeah, I mean, you wish people well. You wish people go on. They're like, yes, he's gone. I mean, the worst team in baseball, you have a 20-game win streak. So it's probably them trying to bite into that to have something to talk about other than the losing streak and all. Blaming Eloy Jimenez is the bad juju for why you have a losing. That's the best they can conjure up. So whatever, the White Sox can do whatever the heck they want. They stink. Enjoy the number 1 overall pick, all that good stuff. So
no, I don't. They can't pick higher than 10th. I don't think.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, because that's the whole tanking thing. I believe they can't pick higher than 10th. I'll double check that, but I think that's
nuts. Well, I know our friend Buster Olney would be very happy about that.
Sucks to suck, Chicago.
It sucks to suck. Just, yeah, be mean on the way out to Eloy Jimenez there. Someone who came around big time, and I think people, it's always great whenever Adley slumps, and then you start hearing about Bobby Witt, and you start hearing all these things, move him in the line, all these kinds of things. They did move him down to the lineup a little bit, take some pressure off maybe. And again, credit Hyde for just pushing buttons, and a lot of them seem to work out. But wanted to go with this one. I mean, really, in my eyes, was the Clipper City tide turning play of the week. You can go check out Clipper City in historic Fells Point. We're going to be doing some content there. They have an awesome studio. If you're looking to rent out a fantasy football watch party, they have a huge jumbo screen, 85-inch TV, a bunch of stuff. Awesome place. Go check them out. For any more information on that, you can feel free to DM me or contact them at Clipper City on Instagram. Was the Adley Rutschman pinch hit triple last night, which I'm going to pull up here because it was fantastic. It kind of gives you shades of Verdugo a little bit, misplaying a ball to a degree, but wanted to just play this bad boy one time.
The 0-2 again. Rutschman cracks this on a line to right field. Coming on goal. He slips. It gets by him, and it goes to the wall. Henderson scores. Santander going to third. He's being waved in. The relay's going to third base, and it's too late. Too late. It's a 2 RBI triple for Adley Rutschman, and the Orioles have gone ahead 5-2 Baltimore.
And I want to go back here real quick and just look at Adley's little. This was a fun little sprinkler that he hits here.
Where he's that felt good.
Yeah, that one felt good. Maybe I missed it. Should be right here. Little.
That one. He needed that so bad, and it came at the perfect time. Again, I mean, that's a 3-2 game. You know, that the game is still, that's a game. Like, it ended up kind of being not a laugher because J-Ram was J-Ram. But I mean, that was a big, again.
It took the pressure off. It took the pressure off when they're losing 2 games. The Guardians, I don't have it in front of me. They're like 33. Orioles going into that game like 33-78 or whatever the hell it was. They have the worst winning percentage of any team in a ballpark since that ballpark is open, something like that. So I would like to say that Adley Rutschman exercised the demons of the Baltimore Orioles and what they've had in Cleveland in the the progressive flow from Progressive's house. There. So that was awesome. He needed that. The Orioles needed that. And then again, just a little coming across. He was pumped.
Somebody had a good point too, and I forget who said it, but they said, people. I don't see a lot of it, but a lot of people. Some people will, be like, "Oh man, Santander, he doesn't really run out ground balls to second or something like that." Or when he hits his home runs, he really takes his time. You saw it in that play when he needs to go. He can move, and he really picks them up and puts them down. Like, he will, it's like he's saving his energy. Again, say whatever you want. If you're mad at him for not running out a ground ball to second, that he's going to be out by 30 feet, that's fine. But like on that play, like when he needed to score from first, he absolutely put it into another gear. And you saw those little arms pumping. So that you love seeing that kind of hustle again from a guy like Tony, 29. So he's ancient, for an Oriole. Like he's him and O'Hearn might as well be like mummies. But that was awesome to see. And again, it was nice to see Adley hit the sprinkler. I feel like it's been a while. So came at the perfect time. Great call by Brett there on the radio. It was awesome because then again, the floodgates opened and they were able to add on a couple more. And again, you mentioned it. Hyde must have batted 1,000 with pinch hits and stuff like that, and the roster lineup construction, the last 2 days. So it's awesome to see that come through because again, O'Hearn pinch hit right after Adley, I believe, and he had that double. So scored Adley, and again, they gave them a much needed insurance run and cushion. You can never have enough cushion. So it was nice to see that kind of them just be able to put it together. So we're getting close to what we saw in the first couple months. And also, I did pull this up. The last 30 days, the Orioles are second in walks in baseball. Yankees have 107. The Dodgers have 97. The Orioles have 92. So third in all of baseball in walks over the last 30 calendar days. So that's a massive, massive increase. Like you said, there is something switching. There is something being talked about internally that, hey guys, this hasn't been working. Here's what we're going to do. And again, I mean, we talked about the offensive philosophy, and it's like, oh, when they're not hitting home runs, they're not winning. How many? Gunnar had the home run. Jackson had one. Santander had one when they were down big to start.
They had one. They had a home run on the first game of the series, which was on Thursday,
Tony,
and then they didn't have one again until today.
Yeah, and again, I mean, they scored what, 9? Was it 9 runs? How many last night? 8, 9?
Last night they scored 7. Today they scored 9. And then before that, I mean, they lost, but it was.
And again,
they scored 4 on the second on what was that, Friday, and 3. So I mean, it wasn't like they had 0 offensive output. Thursday they let up 10 runs. So
yeah, but again, it's nice to kind of see them manufacture these runs, hitting it into the gaps, going to the opposite field, driving the ball.
Corbin Burnes, I think, is at the lead of that as well, putting the ball in play, and he hustled out an infield single today. Yesterday, he smoked one that Naylor stumbled back on and got caught in his glove.
Yeah.
So I think he has 2 infield singles in the last 2 days. He is a freight train. I think Ben McDonald was comparing him to an Olympic sprinter. He was like, look at those pistons chugging along there. Colton's been running them out. The ball, when it rains, it pours. When it rained, it poured on Colton when he couldn't hit changeups. And now when it rains, it pours. Everything he puts in play almost feels like it's a base hit. So third in all of baseball for Colton Cowser since the break in hits. So he is as hot as he could possibly be right now.
Yeah. He's not on the Judge, Bobby Witt, Vlad level, but he is consistently
one run down.
Every time you look up, he's like 2 for 4, 2 for 5, And again, he's making a catch. He's doing this. He's stealing a bag. He's doing something. So again, it's awesome to see him. Again, 17 game hit streak. He's batting over 250 now.
Tied Trey Mancini for the Orioles rookie record, 17-game base hit streak. So he has the chance to break Trey's record Tuesday against Toronto. Tuesday. So yeah, I mean, doing it in every way. They had the mishap. There's the mishap on Friday among the 100 mishaps they made on Friday with them charging it down. But I do love, again, the hustle you see. Cowser always is just a freight train out in left field too. His range out there is ridiculous. Him and Mullins cover and Tony too, really. But the 3 of them combined, not that Tony is, crazy in the range department, but he's average in the range department. So the 3 of them combined have to cover as much ground as any outfield in baseball. They cover so much ground out there.
Tony had a catch. I think was it Friday night, I guess. Obviously they lost the game, but he had a catch in the right center field gap. And I think it was Jacob Calvin Meyer who he said, we have the tracking, blah, blah, blah. Tony's speed on that catch was the 3rd fastest sprint of an outfielder this year. And the first 2 were Stowers and Kjerstad, which is crazy when you think about that. That makes no sense. You're like you just said, you have 2 guys with Olympic level speed. And Mullins on his diving catch earlier in the season against the Twins, you would think that was one that would be up there. But again, Tony picks him up and puts him down, man. That's all he does. And, Joe is right. It feels like something was rejuvenated. And I think we have the Golden Tee machine to thank. I don't know if you saw those tweets flying around. The Golden Tee.
Papa Rubes needs to get the Golden Tee into the clubhouse for Big Jack Holiday. And I'm done with Little Jackie. I'm fighting Jake on this. If he was on here, I'd be yelling at him. It ain't Little Jackie no more. It's Big Jack hitting Big Jacks. He's ripped, dude.
He's massive.
Jack is ripped.
Those
forearms are shivered with muscle. They are riddled with muscle.
We have a buddy who his dad was bigger and again he was a larger, stronger guy growing up in high school and all that. And we would call him, his name is Jack. We would call him Hurricane Jack. So I think I'm catching on to Hurricane Jack Hurricane Jack Holiday. Jackie Holiday could be
that sounds like a prolific boxer from the 1940s. Yes. We're on the exact same wavelength there.
Yeah.
I love that. Almost went Oppo again today. The ball sliced on him a little bit. Almost had an Oppo home run too. Yeah, his manipulation of the bat and the ability to swing on different planes at his age is absurd. The confidence is there. And he looked good before that grand slam. You could just tell it looked more confident. The approach looked more confident, but that had to be, I don't know if I've ever seen a moment where you can tell that the weight was lifted off of someone's shoulders. And then watching that parlay into the series, I think he's 7 for 18 now since he was called up again, 7 for 17, something just like that. We talked about the hard hit balls, but yeah, Golden Tee, he's going 25 under par, setting the record in the Guardians clubhouse. Apparently I saw a Guardians fan that was like, why are we letting them have fun in there? Strip the walls and make them locker room default pink.
Yeah. Appreciate it. I don't know. Helped them out. So thanks, guys. It was,
Joe DeMartin here in the comments as well. Got to re-sign Tony. We've talked about it a bunch, but I'm glad to see that It shifted from like, don't offer him a QO, a qualifying offer, a couple months ago when he was struggling in the cold, to now like, exactly how much would you pay him? 120 million, 100 million, 80 million. And I felt a little crazy saying that. I think I said I would give him a 4-year, $100 million contract like a month ago when he was, I mean, he's still on a tear, but when he was really ripping, and I think Brandon Hyde had a comment after last night, said he's the heart and soul of the lineup. And you just feel it right now. So no matter what happens, I think the Orioles at least will probably give him a QO at the bare minimum, of course. But Tony at this point has become one of my favorite sons of Baltimore, of the Baltimore Orioles in my life. I mean, he's up there for me just in terms of the effort. He talked a lot about getting to chat with Aaron Judge at the All-Star weekend and what he does. And it feels like I keep seeing Tony does this like swivel back now a lot, where he's like readjusting the box. It feels like he's like really digging in like a super swivel. That was definitely a visual thing if you're listening to the podcast form, but seeing him kind of swivel his foot in and out of the box. I'll also say he used to really kind of take way longer breaks in the box. It felt like in years past, and timeouts more, and big deep breaths, and like wind up a little bit more. Feels like he's ready for pitches mentally way quicker. He's the one that's waiting for the pitch, not the pitcher waiting for him, and vice versa, or as opposed to vice versa. So Tony, another great series, just putting the ball in play nonstop. Man, oh man, cylinders are all turning now. And again, we had the comment here of feels like a rejuvenated team. With Slater, with Jimenez, with Mayo, with Holliday, all of those guys, of course, Soto in the bullpen, some of these other guys, there's still going to be some tinkering left to be done. There's still some tinkering left ultimately, but I'm excited. It did feel like they got a big breath of fresh air in bringing in a quantity of players as opposed to one or two guys. Feels like, they brought guys from shitty teams. And it feels like these guys are hungry to prove themselves and prove that they belong on a contending team. And fan speak is that it feels like that rejuvenated the guys that have been here and showed them that they need to, have a professionalism about them, not drag ass, and show these newer guys in this clubhouse what it's all about and that they are a winning team and all that stuff. So I love getting all these new guys in here.
And again, they're all pretty much producing except for Mayo right now. I mean, even, Mayo, he drew those 2 walks in his debut. But again, everyone is producing. Soto has been kind of rough in and out. Sir Anthony, I've really, really liked everything I've seen out of Sir Anthony. I think, did he give up the home run last night to Jose Ramirez?
Yes, I believe.
Which again,
so.
Somebody said, somebody on Twitter said, I'm having a hard time digesting that. I go, that's all he does. Like, you look at, I think he hit a home run in every game. Like, he's awesome. It's just like Aaron Judge. If he hits a home run, you go, yeah, okay, yeah, that's what he's gonna do. Like, I don't take anything away from Sir Anthony. I thought he was awesome. He looked really good today.
But solo shot. Right. I don't. A reliever lets up a solo shot. Whatever, it happens.
Yeah, I'm fine with them. Again, Soto, like you said, well, some tinkering needs to be done, but I have zero worries about him.
I mean, could stink, could be not great, but again, they needed some fresh arms, they needed some fresh blood, and they'll continue playing with what he can do. 2 hard throwing guys coming in. So Sir Anthony was hitting 100 today consistently. I think his average fastball velo is usually like high 97. It was a little wild today. Yeah, I think we had a chat here about it, but said he didn't have good command, but he kind of felt like he was trying to pull back a little bit, see what he could throw. I don't know. Again, tinkering. So I think it's a fun team. I am worried defensively still, very much so. I don't know if you're trotting out Mayo and Holliday and Cowser and all these rookies. I mean, Gunnar, for as special as he is, I think he's an incredible shortstop, and that stretch that he had was ridiculous. Something we heard that was interesting to the contrary was that Ben McDonald was talking about how today on the broadcast, how much Mayo has feeded off of Gunnar being the captain on the field and telling him what to do. He said, Gunnar helps get me out of my mind and tell me the right thing to do situationally, so I don't have to think about it. So he's captaining to his right, to Mayo, and then he's captaining to his left. He's got Holliday. Those guys have, 30 games combined between the two of them now. So with that, I am worried. Ramon came in as a defensive substitution. Holliday is very capable. They're just young. They're inexperienced, so they're going to make mistakes. So come playoff time, it is worrisome, trotting out an infield that has 200. I mean, what has Gunnar played? Maybe 210 games now to look it up. And then the other two, like I said, 240 games between your second, short, and third base with, one playoff series between them. I think that's a little worrisome. They do have some time, but they don't have enough to. I mean, hopefully Westberg is back by that point and kind of neutralizes things a little. Who again also is still very young, but I do think that Friday game was probably the most frustrating game of the year outside of like a blown save or something. Kimbrel, this, that, or the other. But that game was really frustrating. They've kind of put that behind them again. Holliday, we talked about the error he had today, but I am worried defensively about the infield still, and it's not great. That game Friday really, me as a fan, frustrated, took me out of it. I called it JV baseball. I called it Little League baseball, high A baseball. And then I feel like people want to get into it and be like, oh, that's on high. No, it's not. Like, no, it's not. It's not on the coach. If you're at this level of baseball, you got to be fucking.
You have to field a ground ball.
In the outfield. You got to call the ball, Kobe Mayo. Charge to the ball. Colton Cowser, the two of them needed to get that under situation. Hopefully it ends up causing them to over communicate, but that is little league shit. Like that is literally little league stuff. So the expectation in the major leagues or in AAA or in AA is to be better than that. So was not pleased with that performance at all. Not pleased with the Ryan Mountcastle debacle on the rundown. Little league stuff, man. All around. So hopefully that is like the very tail end of them being idiots and they take pregame everything mentally being focused seriously. But I am very concerned about that still, and I will probably remain to be. And I don't know if there's anything that'll change my mind. They have a very inexperienced infield.
Yeah, and Gunnar, my one silver lining is like Gunnar's throws have been better. Last week it was the throws that he couldn't handle. And then he's kind of slowly started to, boot some. I mean, he's okay today, but even like Jackson, first play of the game, last night was Stephen Kwan running, and he just he boots it, it hits him and he picks it up and then he drops it and it's like, all right, whatever. And then again, I mean, Mountie had the great play at first last night that we were talking about, but he also had that brutal pop-up, which I don't know if that was a swirling wind or something, but there was something there. And again, Zach talked about, Kobe and Colton knowing each other from AAA. My only thought is Kobe or Colton probably played all center field. Like, I don't know how many games that they may have played with Colton in left and Kobe at third, where there is communication there. If Colton's in center, he's never there's no interaction there between your third baseman. But yeah, I mean, that's a play where it's like, yes, one guy is playing in his second game or first game or whatever. And then the other guy is just getting, again, maybe 60 I guess longer this whole year. But again, that's something where it's like the experience is going to come back to bite them. And it did. And that's stuff that they have to get ironed out. And again, this is all fundamentals where it's literally, I mean, we do it in softball, like talk. You have to talk. I mean, Ramon and Gunnar did it last week. It's happened way more times the last month.
That was as egregious as it comes. And then we're watching it continue to happen.
Yep. Yeah. So again, that's where I could see them kind of being like, I could see that kind of falling on coaching. But at the end of the day, it's baseball, and they've been doing this for 25 plus years. I can't say 25 years for anyone in the
20, 15, a very long period of time.
15 years where it's like, like, hey, you gotta call this. You have to. You overcall it. You just have to. So again,
I will say though, like I think the Guardians are a good team, and the Jays as well, frankly, and the Padres, who they just played too. They put the ball in play a lot. They don't strike out a lot. They're going to pick on your weakness. The Guardians were running nonstop today. They've been running a lot this series. So that's going to put a lot of pressure on you defensively. And what's going to happen in the playoffs? Small ball. It's going to happen in the playoffs. Runs are going to be at a premium. It's how it is always. It's almost it's not a different game, but it's like a different strategy in the playoffs. Get one run. How can we manufacture one run? How can we get a lead? Playoff teams have good bullpens. Bullpens in small ball goes so far in the playoffs. So again, I'm probably, if it's, two rookies, Westberg, Gunnar, and a rookie, I mean, I'm probably not going to feel great there. And I think teams that are good are going to apply pressure. I'm hitting every ball. Like if I'm being like, hey, I'm going to make Kobe Mayo prove that he's a third baseman. If I'm a big league hitting coach, hey, hit the ball at the 6-6 oath. I think we saw Pigtown Sports. Our guy was saying like, he looks almost like his growth plates haven't closed still. When he's throwing the ball, he just like doesn't look, it's not natural. He was playing catch with Jackson Holliday. Holliday's like just flicking the wrist. And then Kobe Mayo's like, whoa.
He had a play on his debut where there was a guy on first and he fielded it And then it's like he kind of like looked like, all right, I'm going to throw it to first. And then was like, oh, I can throw it to second. And again, it was kind of like I like held on. I was like, oh shit! Like
he was thinking. You could see him thinking during fielding a ball, and you're like, no.
You're like, just go, just throw it. Like Ramon does that a lot too. Ramon will like take his sweet time and like pat it, and then throw it to second. It's like you throw the ball, dude. Like just don't think.
Ramon is smoother with it though.
But it's almost again like Mayo. Like it was almost like you could see him taking like his reads. Like okay, there, okay, no, I can go there, and it's like, dude, just go, just throw it. So that's something that will get more comfortable and it'll get ironed out. And again, it helps having Gunnar right there, and it'll help having Westberg, and it'll help having Jackson and all that. So yeah, again, it's it was fine the last couple of games, but yeah, there was frustrating parts of the series where you're like, I feel like this is the bad news bears. Like this is absolutely awful. So it'll be all right. But I did see that his numbers since the Gold Glove year have been like very, very bad. So he's a fine defender. I didn't like him laying the ball.
Like we just said, him and Henderson just had that stupid situation on top of each other happen. I don't know. I think Urias is clean enough. He's an average defender. He's fine. He's not really wowing anyone over there, but I don't know. He's pretty consistently fine. He doesn't have great range. He's maybe him and Mayo combined run like a 5.9 40 if you take both of their times and take the best splits of every 10 yards. They're both slow as hell. So, but definitely a little smoother over there, a little more sure-handed and confident. You don't see him making spectacular plays. You don't see him making a ton of egregious errors either, other than that stupid 50-50 him and Gunnar situation the other day.
Well, I didn't like him olaying the ball. I think that was Thursday. That may have kind of like kickstarted one of the games. He kind of like
he did have something recently. Yeah,
pulled off to the side, and it's like, dude, you play third base in the bigs. You got to get a glove on it, or you got to knock it down and keep it in front of you. But again, I'm way too much of a pussy to do that in any form of baseball, so I can't really say much.
Yep, I can't field a ball like that at all. So yeah, defensively not great, but hard to feel terrible considering where they were defensively on Friday, followed by these two games.
Mm-hmm.
We talked a little bit about Trevor Rogers. Everyone, of course, jumping right down the throat. Little bit of life. I don't know. I didn't get to see the whole game, but a little bit of life in the sinker. Curious to see what they can chomp on. Could see him coming out of the pen, see him being a situational guy, having him throw 2 pitches mainly, something like that. But 5-starter, take what you can get. Feels like more of a developmental piece with some upside that they feel like than someone they're really expecting to contribute. And again, I probably would still take him over Povich or McDermott or any of those other rookies at this point. Couple things here. We had a question here as well. Has there been any update on Jordan Westberg? We put Danny Coulomb in that category. We did see Jorge Mateo move to the 60-day IL with an elbow superflexion, if I'm not mistaken. That one was terrible. It looked awful. Feel terrible for Jorge. But Westy, I don't think there's been a super defined timeline. They're probably still waiting for swelling to go down. His hand's probably still swollen from that. I've broken my hands a bunch of times. It stays swollen for a while.
Yeah, I would assume, because like I was talking to my dad, and he even asked, he was like, "You think he's with the team?" And I was like, honestly, right now, they may have just sent him home again. It's like, hey man, go take a week and just kind of, go home. Because again, it's
rest. Yeah,
you can't rehab it. There's nothing you can do for a broken hand.
Broken. Yeah.
This may be like a, hey man, go, take your wife, go on vacation, go to somewhere, just do something, and then like in 2 weeks, let's kind of circle back. Like I'm sure
back in.
Yeah, like he'll probably be there at the homestand. I assume he'll be with them, and then he'll probably again be rehabbing from there. And
it's probably a fracture in his hand. So this is an extreme example, but you're not really supposed to fly when you have swelling like that either. If you don't have to, he's not going to play. So why go fly around a bunch of times? It's not going to be great for the healing.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like he can't do dry runs or anything like that. He's not, he's not going to be Russie, going through a simulated, drive or anything like that. I think he's kind of he'll probably just right now just take it easy and maybe in like a week or two kind of circle back and just be like, all right, what's the game plan here? What are we thinking? What are we doing? How are you feeling? And kind of go from there. So
yeah, other things just top of mind. Ryan O'Hearn putting balls in play. Had a tough call. Apparently Westberg is with the team.
Okay.
Right now, I didn't see him, but
yeah, I didn't
have a chat here. So I don't know. I would have elected maybe to not have him flying around. Anyway, they know more than me. But Ryan O'Hearn has also been ice cold. People talk a lot about Adley. He had been very, very, very cold for a sustained stretch. He looks better again, confident. We talked about that brutal take that he had. Mayo, we didn't talk a ton about Mayo. He had 2 walks in, I think, game 1 of this series. Him and Jackson had back-to-back walks to turn the lineup over. And hey, usually rookies struggle when they come up. They have to play some catch up. It stinks having to do it on the road and just bopping around hotels while you're getting all these text messages from your high school coach and, your sister's brother's, father's daughter's cousin who is like, congrats, Kobe, give me a call. Can you help me? Blah, blah, blah. So hasn't looked super confident quite yet, but I like him being calm. He's still a younger prospect. He's 22, taking pitches, not trying to do too much. It doesn't appear that era we talked about a little bit, but thinking about having the lineup turnover with like Jackson, Mayo, and Mullins, who bunted well in this series, stole bases, looked awesome overall. Of course, defensively too. Turning the lineup over with those 3 guys, a lot more pop, a lot more just kind of athleticism and expectation than maybe kind of some of the slumps of McCann, Mateo, and Urias at times. So I know fans will be excited about that.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it today. And I don't know how long this will last, but Holliday in the 9-hole or in the 8-hole, wherever he's kind of going back and forth, but he brings so much stability to the bottom of that lineup. Because like you said, if he gets on and he hits a ball 102 or whatever for a double, or he draws a walk, and then you can turn it over, and it's Gunnar,
and he's quick. He's not a 30. I don't think he's a 30 stolen base guy. Maybe, but I would say that pushes it. But he's jumpy. He's quick. He can put pressure on a pitcher and have an extra base hit. So having that little extra pressure, we saw that with Kowser, able to get a hit there, trying to throw over at Jackson a couple times. So athletic, lefty, pop is through the roof. I feel like I'm kind of crazy right now. The grand slam and some of these hits. Every time I see videos out of Norfolk, I was not seeing EVs out of Norfolk from him that were 109, 107 consistently at all. It's a lot of like 103, 104 kind of stuff. So feels like his max EV has jumped up a ton.
Maybe, and that may have something to do with Norfolk being a very hard, place to, like, the ballpark is notorious for being hard to hit it. And there's wind and it's right on the river. So it could be something with that. It could be the humidity. It could be anything. But I'm with you. And again, it's hard to take anything away from foul balls. Like, you're not going to brag about foul balls. But the one on his first game back, when he almost went pole to pole.
That one was that one was a foot from a home run.
That's incredible power. And then again, he had 2. Like, he had a fly out last night, and then the one today that landed, right kind of. That would have hit high off the wall if it was 10 feet to the right. But this is like legit power. It's crazy. And like you said, his swing plane, but just his ability to drive the ball that way. Again, that's not something that we really saw in AAA. Not that I watched every at bat or anything like that, but man, and again, it's nothing has come from it yet. Except for, I think he had one of the opposite field doubles last night, but he's really putting it out there and
hitting the ball hard to the gaps where there's grass everywhere. Too. The singles have been decidedly where defenders aren't. I don't think that's by mistake. I think he's controlling his bat crazy well right now.
And if you remember his last hit, he got a hit in that Angels series, I think. And it was like 102 miles an hour right back through the middle. And we were like, all right, there it is. This is going to turn him around. And then they sent him down the next day. But yeah, again, he's finding the hole. And he, like, I know he had one of the singles, the RBI. I think he just kind of dropped it in there. But
he can really drag the barrel through the zone. You can see the barrel always in play for him, as my dog's got this year.
Yeah, but again, three multi-hit games in a row. So give me that every day. He looks completely different. You love to see it. You really, really do. So I'm happy that he's up. I'm happy he's contributing. I'm happy that he's having fun and that, they're finally winning some of these. It would suck if he was going like 2 for 4 with like a home run or like a double and they were still losing. But, he's straight up contributing. So for him, that has to feel good. Like you said, he has to just feel so much better this time. It has to just be night and day. Like, he's woken up from the nightmare, because I guarantee you every day that he was down in Norfolk, he was just, I'm sure he could say, 2 for 35 or whatever it was, right? And 18 strikeouts and 36 at bats or whatever it was, and could just probably read down that without even having to look at it. So good for him. And again, we all knew he was good. We knew that he was a special, talented guy, and it's nice that it's finally paying off. And Obviously, it's not going to last forever. He's not going to do this. He'll fall into another slump, and people will say stuff, and we'll kind of go from there. But right now, he's playing some very, very good baseball on a team that's tied for first in the AL East and a game back of the best record in baseball, I believe. So good for him.
They're right there. Grayson Rodriguez on Tuesday against Chris Bassett. I don't think that's been announced, but I think that's how it would line up. The 7th, which I guess is Wednesday, would be Trevor Rogers and Bowden Francis is how it would line up currently.
Over?
And then
over?
Yeah, seriously. And then Kevin Gausman and Dean Kramer lined up for the rubber match there potentially. So not quite seeing, Grayson, not quite seeing the aces necessarily in this one. Bassett's been pitching okay. Gausman matching up with Dean. So should be interesting. Anything else that stands out to you about this series? Anything else that you want to throw into the ethos here as we close up?
This is Jake Rill, who covers the O's, I believe, for MLB.com. He said O's new primary DH platoon of Eloy Jimenez and Ryan O'Hearn combined to go 7-18, 3 doubles, 4 RBIs, and 3 walks in Cleveland. So it's also all the O's gave up for this duo was minor league pitcher Trey McGow and cash considerations. So
big loss on cash considerations ultimately, but
yeah, we I'm sure he'll be back. We do miss him, his role in the clubhouse and everything. But if that can be a fun platoon, that can be a mashing platoon between those two guys. So, again, Eloy is not going to stay this hot forever, and White Sox fans are going to have their time in the sun to, I can't believe, blah blah blah. He's not going to run out a ball or something one time, but right now, he's hitting as well as he could. Again, he's won 2 more games. He's won more games in the last 24 hours than he had won in the last 3 weeks as a White Sox. So
probably it could be even more. It could be more than that. It could be a month.
Probably longer with the All-Star break. So,
but change of scenery is so big in baseball where you play every day and you're around the guys every day and you're actually playing the game every day. And we saw tweets. Delman Young, Aaron Hicks, Eloy Jimenez. Change of scenery looks huge. He's smiling. He's happy. He's got the backwards hat and the Oakley's on with his arm around O'Hearn. Bro Hearn, as his Instagram handle is, at the end of that game was awesome. So looks like he fits right in. Looks like he's happy to be around Hyde again. And the Orioles have a freaking power talented. We talked about it. I mean, you can say this about a lot of guys who flamed out and, people always talk about it, especially in the NFL, like, oh, he's a first-round pick. But he truly was one of the most talented players coming up. He had flashes of greatness that 2020 season, dealing with injuries. Looks like that hamstring is hamstrung still. He legged out that double, I think, today, and he was just kind of jogging. He was just like, all right, yeah, okay, I've got time. I'm just going to.
Hyde said, too, like when they got him, he said he's not 100%. And he was like, we know he's not 100%. Like, this is a known thing. So, yeah, it's
hamstrings linger, man. They really do.
Yep. Again, as long as he can stay healthy, sure, keep hitting. So good to have him. Good to have him. We're happy for Eloy.
Very happy for Eloy. Happy to have you, my friend. This is a fun one. Orioles heading to Toronto. Off day tomorrow for 3 games against the Jays. Not a lot of home games in August. There are, I think, 10.
How'd you find that out?
I found that out when I went to go buy the Orioles Unlimited Pass and purchased it, and then was like, oh, cool, they have 10 August home games, and I'm on vacation for 6 of them. So I got a real bargain there. Ultimately, will be a lot of road games left. They do have 4 against the Astros, 3 against the Red Sox, and 2 against the Nationals.
Not the Astros.
4 against the Astros.
At home. I thought you said at the Astros. They got
it's at home. It's at home. It's at home.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. I thought you said
they played Nationals, Red Sox, and Astros at home, and then they have the Dodgers after the Astros, and I think there's one more road series in there between the Red Sox and the Astros.
Who is it?
Mets.
Colorado.
The Mets.
Colorado. I think the Mets are in there. Colorado's coming up too, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. So a lot of road baseball, a lot more fun to go on. The Orioles are in a dead heat with the Yankees as things stand, who they just keep ebbing and flowing at the same time, it feels like. The Yankees stink. The Orioles don't play great. The Yankees will get white hot, and the Orioles will play like very well.
Yeah,
I think the Yankees kind of crash and peak a little bit harder than the Orioles do. But it's been a wild ride, a lot left, and man, feels good today. The Orioles in Corbin Burnes' worst start of the year. People keep saying that. I'm like, sure, let up a 3-run home run. He threw 1 meatball. I mean, that's all it was. He was kind of not locating as well as he usually does, but being able to go win that, I'm sure he's thrilled. Also, the comments coming out of Corbin Burnes, I don't know. I didn't see exactly where he said it, but he said Baltimore feels like a second home and feels like home, and the Orioles organization has treated him and his family really well. So please don't go, Corbin. Please don't go.
Stay, please.
Would love it.
Please.
Knew it. We got Pickdown Sports. Naylor was due for a blast. He's a freaking masher. Just the way he swings the bat. He throws the bat at it.
Yeah. By the way, I do want to say this. Big Jack Hurricane Holliday.
Hurricane Jack Holliday.
He had an angry bat toss after one of his walks, and I was like, there it is. This is give me the cocky like Gunnar walk. So I got to go back and try and or something, but he chucked that thing, and I was like, yep, there we go.
It was big. So. Do you know who my dad is? Energy, like throw me a strike.
Yeah.
Do you know who my dad is?
Literally, please throw me.
Love it. Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Had about 1,000 of you on here. Would love to have you over to YouTube. Go ahead and like and subscribe. We do these series recaps. I saw a couple folks coming in here. The easiest way to support us is to simply subscribe and check us out on YouTube instead of Twitter. If you like doing these, just come hang out with us on YouTube. We would love that way more. So thank you guys so much for listening. The Orioles, like we said, 67-46 here, headed into the first full week of August with the Jays on the docket. You can go ahead and follow the podcast at Exit 52 Podcast on any socials. I'm at Ravens4Dummies. That's a number 4. Eric is at EDITTI22. Brian is at Barstool Banks. Taylor is at Taylor Smythe with a Y10. Jake is at Jake Luke LOUQUE. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will talk to you next time. See ya.
Bye.